My first question here handed to me, Venerable, can you tell us how the last 2 weeks went with the Hong Kong visitors? Yeah, the last 2 weeks we canceled the meditation class because we have an ordination, tonsuring. When we say tonsuring, hair or hair off, you know, tonsuring, ordination. We have 33 monks and nuns, novice monks and nuns, tonsure, and then we have approximately about 50 with hair. And we spend 2 weeks in, I wouldn't call it a boot camp, but every hour counts. Every hour is either meditation, prostration, chanting, walking meditation, and then lectures on the Buddhist teaching. It's an intensive 7 days for them. It's not 2 weeks, 7 days. But then there's a lot of preparation was done prior to the 7 days and the aftermath of the 7 days. And also we went to the Bowen Island Monastery for a day. We walked around Crippen Lake and we did some meditation, and we have a buffet around the temple. Some people here have never been to the temple on Bowen Island. It's a place close to the water. We have a beach there. We're right sitting on the beach, on the shore, close to the water. And then we also have another 8 acres in the mountain. So it's a combination of waterfront and forest tradition, with trees at least 100 years old. How many trees are there? I don't know. 10,000, 30,000, 20,000. 8 acres of cedar, pine, maples, and a variety of trees. So after we finished the last 2 weeks with a lot of intensive training, intensive meditation, we handed out a questionnaire so that we know what kind of improvements we have for next year, and all in the 90% category. All say praises is really good. The food is good, there's no question about it, and the living accommodation is good, except that the toilets, facilities are not sufficient. Of course, we have 100 people living in here for the past 2 weeks, 100 people, and we have at least 30 volunteers. You see, people who volunteers, they help out, they could not join the activities, but they contribute all their time and efforts, and they even slept in here to serve. You know, all these are volunteers. All these people who are serving you have been volunteers for years. For years, they didn't get a penny, and on top of that, they donate too. Most of the desserts were donated by them. You see, you thought they were servants? No, they were volunteers who donate not only money but their time and efforts to everybody. You're just sitting there eating, but they prepare for it. They make the desserts. They didn't even tell you, you know. So these have been there here for many, many years. And we have more than 25 volunteers who lived in here. And it's been very successful. We have 55 people from Hong Kong and about 35 people from local. We have pictures about how they shave their heads, and we have 85 people standing right in front there taking snapshots of everything. And we can post those photos. We'll post those photos underneath the bridge for you to see. They're all very happy. Imagine they try to get from their bosses a 15-day vacation, no pay leave. They spend close to $3,000 of air ticket and going through a boot camp training in meditation and chanting and lectures. And many of them, 50% of them were beginners, and they were quite impressed. From now on, they would continue their spiritual cultivation. And they listen every day to lectures and practice and prostrations, and it's a spiritual practice for them. It's a practice that they will remember for life, for the rest of their life. It is a practice that they haven't heard of before. They haven't heard that all our senses are actually attached to outer environments, And we can't let go of things. We're always attached to them. And most of them, I would say 90% of them, realize their own bad habits. Their bad habits in housekeeping, for example. You know, some of these people, they were spoiled by their families. When they woke up, they didn't even know how to fold the bed sheets. You just went away, and they accumulated biscuits and chocolates and put in their room, and it gets smells and stinky. But if they live with people, they have to be warned. Every day you have to do your bed. Every day you have to clean up your room. Every day you have to care about how you use the washroom. You know how people use their washrooms? Do you know bad habits of using washrooms? They don't care about the cleanliness of the washrooms. They thought when they get into a washroom, of course they do their big thing, and they don't want to flush it. People are lining up behind when they do their big thing. All the big things are still in the toilet, and they clean their hands, and only when they go out, they flushed away their big things. But I said, no, that's not the way, because the other people, when they enter the room, they could smell your big things. So one should deposit those big things in, let them go, just as you let go. Let them go. Let them get out of the toilet. Don't let even the smell left, not to say the material, not even the fragrance left. So let go. You know, now you see the magic of letting go, right? Not only in your personality, in everything you do, in your daily life, you've got to let go. When you're at home now, your brothers and sisters are lining up, don't let them smell your big thing. So, once they wash their hands and clean up their teeth, they splash the water all over the place, even on the toilet seat, surrounding it. The next guy comes in, oh, it's all water, all wet. So they don't care about other people. Now they know, because we have a prefect for every 5 people. Watch it. Next time when you want to join in, train yourself up. Otherwise you'll be kicked out. Well, there are a few people who almost kicked out from here because they had so many bad habits at home. They don't do their beds. They don't clean their room. They don't care about washrooms. And many, many things they don't care. Those are the bad habits. You see, thoughts, action originates from thought. A thought breeds action. Actions breeds behavior. If you repeat the behavior for a long time, that becomes your personality. Your personality determines your destiny. Why are people successful? Why are some people successful? Why are some people fail all the time? Why are some people so hardworking? And why are some people so lazy? Don't blame your parents. Don't blame school. Blame yourself. You build up that personality. Your personality determines your destiny, your life. You see, not God. Not God. God give me all these mishaps. No, not God. You created them, and you don't even know about them. You put the blame on your God. It's unfair. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the 2 weeks visitors. So everything went well, and we all polished them up, you know, in their bad habits. And but many of them came up and said, "Thank you very much, really. I didn't even know my own bad habits until I come to the boot camp, where I got training. So send the bad kids in here, and let us polish them for you." But next time we're going to screen all the candidates. Some of them are what you call what's that word? Incorrigible. Some of them are incorrigible. No matter how you say, they don't care. Then we have to ask them to leave. They don't care. They thought, that's the way I am. That's the way I'm used to. So you can't change me. So I said, okay, then you have to go home. Incorrigible cannot be changed. All right? So I guess I can go on and on, but basically, it's been extremely successful. I would say, if I give a mark, if we can grade, put a grade to this, I would say it's a 95%. Yeah, no one is perfect. It's a 95%. Okay, so that's the question. I went to see the Buddha's relics on the weekend. Some relics loaded like pearls, and some look like pearls, and some look like small pieces of agates. They were in different sizes and colors. Do you know how relics are formed during cremation? And also, according to their pamphlets, before the Buddhas and high monks die, they practice loving kindness and wisdom, and then I don't know how the relics were formed. They found relics in the ashes. So when the body of a high monk, when the body of a saint was cremated, and there are some like diamond-shaped agates or pearls left in the ashes. And it's not proven scientifically, but it has been written in sutras and written in commentaries of high monks that all those monks or nuns or saints, if they had not had one thought of sexuality in their mind for 30 years and more, when they were cremated, they will have relics like that. So in other words, if you have thoughts of sexuality or whatever you have, then if you're involved in the action, of course, that would be, of course, you couldn't get that. Even a thought, if you're thinking about it all the time, when you get burned, you won't have that. And there are explanations to explain that. You see, when you are celibate, when you do not have thought of a man and woman relationship thought, or just to say the word, there's no sexual intercourse, something, and not even sexual thinking, then your body starts to change. Because whenever a sex thought comes up, it excretes hormones. When it excretes hormones, it diffuses in your body, and the hormones has to come out. It has to get outside the body. So your system is more or less agitated. You're under tension, you're under pressure. And if you do not have any kind of thought like that, your system is so pure that you're different. There's a lot of explanations in that. So that's the reason why monks and nuns are celibate. They don't have relationships. So people think that sex is an accepted fact in life, that everybody should have, everybody must have, otherwise there's no proliferation of human races. But that's actually the problem. That's actually drive us to where we are now. And of course, a lot of discussions need to be talked about on this. And but we need, it's basically, to answer these questions, not a single thought of sex for a long time. The body inside is different from an average person's body. The systems are different. Then when it's cremated, then there are that kind of things left in there. Your imagination could be, maybe those are the hormones that should have been produced had you been doing that, but it's now that deposit in there. It will be different. Actually, that's our problem. We are in the world of desires. The world of desires drive us. We have the karma behind, drive us to do the man and woman relationship. So in other words, if you are in a high intelligence level, like the next tier up, Rupa Dhatu, there's no such thing. They still have material left in that kind of living conditions. There are other humans, not just us. There are humans in other planets, in other remote places that we can't even imagine. But the Buddha said there are other existences. That kind of existence far superior those existences who had desire of sex. Those living beings who have desire of sex are the lower strata level. And there are beings in the middle where they don't have that relationship, but they still attach to material. So there's no man relationship gender. There's no gender in that category. You think a gender, it's normal, but it hasn't been. Well, we need a lot of talk on that. It's very difficult to convince people on that because you've never studied Buddhism. You've never studied cosmology, what the Buddha talked about in different levels of existence. There are also existences where even material is too coarse, too unacceptable. Even material is a burden. In there, the highest joy is where there's only consciousness left. And even consciousness left is not the ultimate. You have to go beyond consciousness. That's the nirvana level, which is the Buddha level. Right? Okay? So to keep it short, that's the only thing I can tell you. Okay? It seems to be Aladdin and the Lamb kind of stories to you. Because you've been so much used to material, you've been so much used to sex, you've been so much used to pursue for materials, for fame, for reputation, for money, for ego. You know, your karma pull you to where you are. You were born in prison. How do you know the freedom outside? If a saint walked into a prison that you've been born in there, you don't even know outside is freedom. If he told you, the saint told you, look, Sonny, that is a lot more freedom than prison. You won't believe it. Like if a frog is living in a well since birth, and someone told the frog, hey, froggy, get out from that well. You know how big the well is? Oh, I know how big the well is. That little round thing in the sky. That's the world. He could only see the sky as one round opening of the well. He couldn't see the rest. Whereas you're looking down and say, hey, there's more. He won't believe you. He never had a chance to go out there. He was born in there like us. If the Buddha said, look, this is not the place for you. Your karma pull you down in here. You're restricted by it. You've been confined by it. You won't believe it. You won't believe it. Next question. What are the 3 pure meats and the 5 pure meats to practice before becoming a vegetarian? The 3 pure meats, if you see someone slaughtering, you don't eat the meat. You see someone slaughtering the cow, you don't eat the meat of that cow. If you heard the struggling and the groaning and the suffering of that animal being killed, you don't eat that animal's meat. If that animal is slaughtered particularly for you, you don't eat the meat. If you vow not to eat the 3 kinds of meat, if you vow to do that, one of it, of course, is slaughter for you. If you go to a restaurant, it's your birthday, somebody celebrate your birthday and say, hey, Sonny, I got a lobsters in here for you. And the lobster, the waiter took the lobsters out. And, oh, the lobster was jumping and lively. And then this is, how do you want this cooked? You want to put ginger in here? You want to cook curry in here? How do you want to cook? Then you say, no, I practice the 3 pure meat. If this is slaughter for me, don't do it. Set it free. Don't slaughter the lobster for me. I vow only to eat meat that's been killed, not particularly for me. I only eat meat from a fridge in Save-On food. Frozen meat, yes, because they've been killed already. Don't kill it for me. So particularly kill for you, you don't eat meat, you don't eat it. You saw it being killed, struggling, and you know how cows are killed? Get a look at the slaughterhouses in Google. How they were brutally killed. How they were still struggling and blood coming out all over the place and the bowel come out and all that. You won't eat. Have you ever, anybody here visited slaughterhouses before?
I worked in one.
You work in one. How do you feel now?
Well, I feel better. I don't eat meat.
Huh?
I don't eat meat.
You don't eat meat there. Yeah. So if you visit slaughterhouses, you won't do it. You won't eat meat again. And wow, you can Google now and see how they got killed, how pigs and chickens and they won't. And also, if you heard them crying, you don't eat the meat. Okay? As far as the 5 pure meat is concerned, if the animal is dead for a few days, you don't eat it. In the old days, you Google into the 5 pure meats. There's 2 sayings on it. This kind of definition you can easily get from Google. The 5 pure meats. Okay. Venerable, please tell us about the recent retreat hosted by the temple for visitors from Hong Kong. Please advise on what you hope the people learn and experience. All these people who visited for the last 2 weeks, they really have learned a lot, and many of them started to change their bad habits. Many of them becomes more cooperative, and many of them becomes more spiritual. They practice loving kindness. The experiences they got is so tremendously wonderful. They all left with admirations. They will come back again next year. We also spent 3 hours in walking meditation around Crippen Lake for 3 hours, and some of them are more than 80 years old. And they all feel very happy about it. We went up to the mountains. We went up to where we have 2 cabins in there, and the air is fresh. You know Bowen Island? Bowen Island is, even the water is better than Richmond and Vancouver because they don't use chlorine. We drink from the creek water, and we only use filtration system and ultra rate system. No chlorine in it. So sometimes we thought, after we cooked, we found the food is so delicious, even if we don't put any seasonings in it. And we found it because of the water. And the air is so fresh, and it's extremely quiet. You couldn't see anybody in there. You don't get to see your neighbors. You know, so it's extremely quiet. It's close to the seaside. You can see the waves washing ashore, the high tide and the low tide, and it's very scenic and very idyllic. You know, it's really nice. Next question. If I understand correctly, in Buddhism, afterlife and reincarnation exist, what were the vital factors that were the fundamental basis for this belief? Is there any way to find out how a person was in his past life? There's so much to see nowadays in the internet. If you key in past life researches, past life regression, there's a lot of stories on past lives. And more and more, even religions who don't emphasize on believing past lives, now they believe in past lives. You are from your past. Think about this. Time is not a concept of just the present. Time is 3-dimensional. The past, the present, and the future. 3 dimensions in it. And as human beings, we only think about, when we think about the past, we only think about yesterday, 20 years ago, or to the time when you were born, when you were a baby. You think about that. But you never extend your time horizon to further than your own living. The Buddha's horizon of time is much more wider. It's not just in one's lifetime. When you talk about the past, it's not just the past of yesterday. It's the past of the life before. It's a much broader vista of time horizon, not just of one life. And that explains, even scientifically, that explains better than having just one life. Where were you from? You reincarnate with your karma, with your energy to this life. You only change your form, you haven't changed your energy. Energy is never get disintegrated. Form changes, but not energy. Energy, if it is, so that's the reason why you have to build good energy. Don't accumulate bad energy, don't accumulate bad karma. if you're killing, you're stealing, you're lying, you're commit sexual misconduct, you are cheating, you're doing all kinds of bad karma, you brought your energy to your next life, maybe to hell, maybe to the animals realm, or maybe the ghost realm. So you are a continuation of your past experiences that you created yourself. Not just of yesterday, not just of 20 years ago, 30 years ago, it's even before. And that also explains why you were mixing up with your brothers, your sisters, your dad, your mom, your friends, your nieces, your nephews. We all have unfinished businesses before we came. That's the reason why some relationships are good, like average life. Some relationships are bad, because you brought all those unfinished businesses were being brought to this life. And it's a continuation from previous life. Research in the internet about past life regression, past life researchers. A lot of researches have been done to prove reincarnations and past life. If you haven't gotten into nirvana in this life, you roll with your energy into the next life. How is your next life going to be? Nothing to do with God. It's you. What have you built for yourself in this life? What have you built for yourself? What have you accumulated for yourself? What have you accumulated up to now not only affects your future life, it also affects your tomorrow. Because some effects are immediate, some effects are afterlife. If the karma is so strong, you have your bad effect tomorrow. So everything is causality, cause and effect. Be mindful on your causes. Don't build up bad causes. Change your lifestyle. If you have a lifestyle of addiction, a lifestyle of sensual pleasure seeking, a lifestyle of egoism, a lifestyle of Epicureanism, a lifestyle of only caring for yourself and not for others, of hurting others, you'll have the effect pretty soon coming up. You can't change yesterday, can you? You have already done it. Can you change yesterday? Can you go back to yesterday and change it? No. You can't change your past karma because you have done it. But you can change now. Now. Do it now. Do it. Do you see that? Do it now. Why are you procrastinating? You're still getting onto the bad addiction. You're still getting onto the bad habits. You don't know about it. Change it now. For your own sake. Not for God, for your own sake. Change it now. Not for your mom and dad. You only agonize your mom and dad because of your bad experiences, but you agonize yourself more. So I've been talking for too long. So what a person was in his past life, all our different faces would tell what your past lives were. Maybe one more minute. If you're a multi-billionaire in this life, I more or less know what you did in your past life. You have been a philanthropist. You have been giving out a lot. You like to help. You like to give out. You have $5 million and you like to give out all of them. Not a penny left for you, but in this life, you're going to be, I don't know, multi-billion dollars. You earned your own interest. Imagine if you donated $5 million 100 years ago, if you add up the interest, how much you got? A 6% for $5 million for 100 years ago, and you add it up. How much is that now? Well, I'm just simplifying what I said by simple mathematics. If you donated $10, for example, 1 million years ago, what would that become? Giving inflation. But that's not a practical example. Sometimes you have deflation. But anyway, that's what it is. Watch yourself. Last question. Can I learn meditation from books? If you really blindly believe in books, it's better to throw away the books. Can I learn meditation from books? Do you think that only books can help you? Some people say, I get a lot from books, from a lot of books surrounding. But some people just buy books. They buy one book and they flip a few pages and they put it on the shelf, and buy another one, flip a few pages and spend about half an hour and put it on the shelf. They are a book accumulator. They never finish the whole book. And when they're reading, they're so casual in the reading that in places they don't understand, they just don't care. So if you think that you can, if you get enlightened only by books surrounding you, your librarian is already a Buddha. He was surrounded by books every day. If the amount of books determine how enlightened you are, you better be a librarian, because every day he saw books. It's not books. It's your experience plus what you know. You put into practice. Books is only theory. In meditation, you have to put your theory into practice. You have to walk the board, walk the walk. You have to walk it out step by step and do it. Not just reading in a book and seeing a videotape. You think you can get enlightened by looking at a videotape? No. You have to practice. You're doing it right now. You're doing it right and you're still looking for elsewhere. It's always like that. There was a nun many years ago, maybe a few hundred years ago. After this story, I consider myself done. There was a nun in the Tang Dynasty, and she was in her temple with her master, with a few nuns. And she was not satisfied with the meditation she learned from her teacher, from her guru. And she wanted to go everywhere to look for gurus, because she thought that her own master, her own teacher was not enough for her. So she was looking everywhere. And after 30 years, that this is time I should go back to my old temple. So she returned home, and then she returned home, and she was approaching her own old temple, family temple. And then all these cherry blossom trees were so high already after 30 years. And they were blossoming, all these cherry blossom blossoming. And she was walking underneath it, and she smelled the fragrance of it. And all of a sudden, she got enlightened. And she wrote a poem. And I have to tell you, I have to say in Chinese before I can translate it. 到處尋春不見春. Okay, I have been searching for spring everywhere. Searching for spring is searching for nirvana, searching for enlightenment. I've been searching for spring everywhere. 望係踏破嶺頭雲. My sandals were broken. Many pairs of my sandals have been broken because of my walking, my visiting. Been broken already. 歸來偶過梅花下. Now I'm returning to my family temple, and I'm passing the grove of cherry blossom. 春在枝頭已十分. Spring is already here. Spring has been here all the time. Why did I spend the last 30 years looking for spring? Spring is right here. Why do you still look for it? Spring is right in your heart. Why are you looking for somewhere? Right in your heart, right in your mind. Don't look for it anywhere. Spring is right here. You don't have to look anywhere else.